Okay, guys, you want to take this $9 Goodwill clock, best deal I found in a long time, but that was a couple months ago, and turn it into this beauty that I have now sitting in my kitchen on the top of the cupboards. Cupboards. When was the last time anybody called them cupboards? Anyway, welcome to Thrift Flip Thursday with my bestie Joanna. Y'all check out that playlist in my description box as well as Joanna's channel link, and I'll have it in first pinned comment. Let's flip this clock. Now, I loved it exactly the way it was. It does still work. Put a battery in it, and she was ready to go. Did I mention it was only $9? Oh, and this thing is like good, pretty good wood put together. It was just missing one of those little knobs right there to keep it held on tight, but it works. Nobody's messing with the back anyway. So I was going to leave it just this solid red because I have red kind of farmhouse in my kitchen. But I wanted to kind of grungy it up a little bit. So I'm just taking a sander and I'm kind of just sanding off the edges some. Some of you might be cringing. By the time I'm done, you might really be cringing because you're thinking, oh my God, you just ripped all the paint off of that. What are you doing? Because it was a pretty red color. I know. But you also know me and you know I like it kind of grungy and rustic and vintage and antique and antige, as Kara would say. Kendra, not Kara, sorry, Kendra. As Kendra would say at Late Night Creations, it's antige, antique and vintage. Now, of course, this is not an antique clock by any means at all. Okay, what you could see anyway, along with that blah blah blah. Yeah, see, you're probably cringing at this point, a lot of you, because I've sanded it down so much. And then you can saw I took a finer grit sandpaper and kind of just swirly to make you can see the lines, but not bad. Moose is gonna sit here and help us clear coat this baby with some clear coat wax. And then once that dried for a little bit, I came and I buffed it off with just one of those microfiber cloths from the Dollar Tree. And there she is. Yeah, I know some of you are cringing, but I'm loving this. I love it. You probably think it's a hot mess because you see lines going sideways, up and down, whatnot. Don't worry about it. I like a hot mess. It matches me perfect, right? So I bought myself some IOD transfers, and I found these from a shop on Etsy because I had heard that this seed packet one from a long time ago was it's not for sale anymore. Discontinued. I could be totally wrong, but I thought I heard that. But I found an Etsy seller with them. I had to get it because a lot of the seed packets say May and for the name of the company, and that is my grandparents, my mom's maiden name was May, and my grandparents were always planting gardens, and so that name that's the rock in our family, and so I just had to have it because of the name, plus they're beautiful, right? So I have all these other beautiful IOD transfers here that my friend Heather, Spindleback Mercantile, had sent me, and I still need to use them. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to use? I know I'm going to use the ones in the seed catalog, but there are these white ones. You can kind of see that one has a rooster on it. One of them had a goose, and then one of them just had words. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, what do I want? I know for sure I want the May. May's got, it has to be on there, right? And I want to go fruit. At first, I thought I was going flowers, but then I decided, no, let's go fruit because I'm more likely to plant fruits and veggies and not flowers because I'll kill a flower. I'll kill a plant and kill a vegetable too. I can kill a cactus, but that's another story for another day. Right here, I'm just showing you, and I'm sure you guys have seen this a million times, but just in case you haven't, you do not have to use the transfers the way they are. You can cut them apart and use other pieces of them. And so what I'm doing is kind of cutting that strawberry off because I knew that the red was not going to show up too good since it was red, painted red. So I tried to avoid some of the red, and plus I want to save all the strawberry stuff for something else. Um, so right here, I'm kind of fussy cutting to get the cherries off as well because they're red. So I wasn't going to use those, but I do end up using them later because I decided I was going with all the fruit, right? So this little picture has some blackberries at the bottom, and then it has like a dove and then a real pretty picture kind of behind it. And so that May came off of something else. And I'm going to kind of just piece this all together. And then here's some peas. There's some peaches. And here I'm still debating. Do I want flowers? Do I want fruit? There's a bird. Nope. Changed my mind on the bird. I do put a bird on it, but it's a smaller bird. So here I'm still all in debate. If you guys only knew how long it took me to decide what do I want to put on this clock and where do I want to put them? Have mercy. That took me about as long as it did for me to try to get that out and tell y'all. Okay, so I'm taking this white one that had the rooster. Now you can really see it. And I'm going to put that one right on the top of the clock, just kind of in the middle there. Now, anytime you have these transfers, you lay them where you want them. Make sure they're all pressed down. And then you can see I've got the stick there and I'm going over the whole thing to start with. Once you get it started, you then start pulling up a corner. And as you're pulling up, you're pulling it up as you rub. And it's like if you're rubbing and pulling at the same time, boy, that stuff comes off good. Now, this one, you can see it's more detailed, finer lines. And also when it comes to letters and words, those take a little bit more oomph to get them rubbed down and pulled off, and you gotta really take your time. This obviously is sped up, okay? And I really go fast here in a little bit because I wanted to show you, but I didn't want to bore y'all. If you want to slow this down, you can in the settings thing. Anyway, don't ask me where exactly because YouTube keeps changing everything. But I know you can slow this down one way or another. So, right here in a few seconds, I'm really going to blow and go real fast. But there you go. So, we got our little white rooster on the top because, we're still going farmhouse. Now, my fruits are going to kind of go sideways wonky on the sides. So, here I'm trying to figure out which way do I want it, who's going to be on which side. I know I'm going to use those three. I'm going to use that piece. There's the maze. And then I found this, cut off another part. And Gracie's going to just lay in my box of transfers there and help me out. So, here we go. So I decided, okay, this maze needs to be front and center because that's my grandparents right there. Okay, the blood and soul and the heart and the rock of the family. Okay, and so that's got to go on the drawer. Look, Moose is going to help hold it for me. So I put that kind of sideways on this little drawer, and then I put those other little words, and I'm just kind of showing you. I'm going to show you here in a second. If you go to pull off and you realize not all of your transfer came off, all you have to do is just set it back down wherever it needed to be and just rub it again. That's all you have to do. Don't ever panic. See, the S didn't come off, okay? Because Moose was busy helping. And so anyway, yeah. And so I just set it back down where it was supposed to be. See, he's trying to help Mama hold it down. And I just rubbed a little bit more and ta-da! It comes off. Then, of course, you burnish it, you rub over it. Some people use the transfer sheet, and then other people use their fingers to kind of rub it down just to make sure that that paint inlay is down. No, transfer, sorry, not paint inlay, is on and flat and stuck against the surface. Now, this piece I'm going to do, let me get a closer view here. Moose is over there playing with my stick, Mr. Helpy Helperton. I'm showing you that you can go over around curved surfaces. You're thinking, oh my gosh, you're putting this right on top of the drawer. Don't panic. Now, I'm going to blow through this really fast here. I'm just showing you, you kind of start. Notice this time I didn't press it all the way down like I did on the top one, because we're going around a bunch of curves and there's some little nooks and crannies. And then we get down to the drawer part and up and over some edges, and it's kind of curved and humped. Yeah, like I said, I'm blowing and going really fast, but trust me, I was really slow doing this. Take your time and just follow those curves and pull as you go. And you'll notice I was like, see, I was pulling at there, and then I switched and pulled up there. And then here in a second, I'm going to spin the clock around and I'm going to pull from the other side. And you just keep working at this until it's off. And like I said, here I had another piece come up. My leaves come up. And see, they didn't stick. So I just set it back down. You can also do this if you want to. You could pull it back up. And if you want to put those leaves in a different spot, boom, you can do that too. Which I do here in a little while, but I don't show you guys all of this. Okay. So now I'm going to burnish this again. I'm going to make sure it's all rubbed down. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut right there where our drawer opens, okay? Because we're gonna fill that drawer up here in a little bit. So I'm just cutting, and it does cut some of the transfer off, but it looks like a drawer, and I'm gonna have it pulled out anyway. You saw at the beginning. And so I'm just cutting here, cutting here, cutting here. I guess I could have cut some of this out. Cut it and cut it out. Anyway, and then I'm going to burnish it back down to make sure that's all laid down. I even pull the drawer out a little bit and make sure it got in the edges laid down flat. I'm also going to take a fingernail file, which is just like using your sandpaper stuff. And I noticed that, like right there where the black is, where I just ran my thumb, it's kind of bumpy jaggedy. So we're going to make it bumpy jaggedy on purpose. So I'm taking a fingernail file and I'm kind of just roughing everything up. And then you're also going to see here in a little while, I kind of go ham with the roughing everything up. Yeah. Anyway, and this is kind of like when you're sanding off the edge of, like, when you do the Mod Podge method with napkins and stuff like that. You want to kind of go down, don't pull up, because you might pull up the transfer. So anyway, so there we go. Look, opens, looks great. I'm happy. Now we'll get to our seed packets here, but before I got to the seed packets, I added some more details to the bottom and up at the top, okay? But I'll show you all that later, but I'm not going to show you doing it. So here on this side, I'm showing you with the I think those were apples down there, that if it's one solid big picture, it comes off a whole lot easier than like that other little piece, or like the letters or the rooster on top. Watch how quick. Look, 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 look. It's just like boom. That sucker comes off so easy if it's one big solid piece of transfer. When you got all those little details like words and there's no background, it does take a little longer and gotta have a little bit more patience. But as you all know, I'm learning that with building my little book nook miniatures. Oh, well, guys, I bought 3 more. Thank y'all for whoever is watching those hour-long videos of me putting one shelf together or whatever. You guys are the real MVPs. I'm just saying. Y'all are amazing. Anyway, if you haven't seen me build those, go check it out, and I promise one day I'll learn to edit. Now, you can see right there that it got kind of cracked. So I've got my little piece of sandpaper. I think it's 320 grit. And I'm kind of sanding that way, then that way, but it wasn't working. So I took my little piece, and this is one of those that go on the zip sander. I just took it off the zip sander, and I kind of folded it in half, and then that let me get in the edge. Now what I'm doing is I'm sanding anywhere that it bends, and I got all that off the back because you're not going to be able to see it anyway. But see, like right on the edges, I'm going to rough all that up. And then I decide, go ham. And I'm roughing the whole thing up. You can kind of see where the wood of the front of the clock meets the side. You can see the line on the image. Look, I'm here pointing at the screen like I'm able to show y'all while I watch this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's some extra that I added to the front. We got a little birdie down there and a little bug. And then I put a hummingbird up here at the top, but I really jacked him up. So again, we're going to get the sandpaper after it, so it looks like it's supposed to be all messed up. This is what you do. If you mess up, then you just purposefully mess it up so that it looks like it's supposed to be messed up. So yeah, half my bird like came off when I did that. I added little bits and pieces of grass, flowers, birds, a buggy. There we go. Okay, then we got our peas on. If you remember the peas, the words were at the top, but I cut them off. And I wanted them here in the middle, kind of in between, and I overlapped it on top of the bottom of the peas. Now we're going to the other side. There's our peaches, and I'm going to put just some little yellow flowers down there. And ta-da! Those are little strawberry plants I added up at the top. But here you go, guys. I believe I have sanded and roughed it all up, and I have all my transfers on. Had to put a little bug right there because I took a big chunk out of that one. And so nothing you can't fix. It's all fixable. Nothing a little bit more doesn't, it works. It works. It works. Okay. So there we go. I know some of you might be cringing because I sanded over those transfers and I sanded too much down on the red, but hey, I like it. Once that was done, I gave it another clear coat of wax, let it dry a little bit, buffed it out, let it sit overnight, and now we're ready to decorate. So this drawer is a very skinny drawer. As you could tell by the piece of foam I have and how big my hand is, it's not big at all. Now, I could not get this drawer. It does not come all the way out. So I had to just pull it. Also, I kind of wanted to do something with the clock face, but there was no way to get that glass out. I mean, this thing it's built in anyway. Okay. So what I'm doing here. Notice I did not glue in the foam. You guys know how I am when it comes to my thrifted stuff. I don't like to permanently glue things in. I put some foam in, and then I put some hot glue on another piece of foam to raise it up, but there is no glue in the bottom of the drawer whatsoever. Then I had this moss, I believe I got from Hobby Lobby, and it was some red and some green, and I mixed it and put it in there. Now, this little wooden doll right here, how old does that look? We're talking like the 90s and stuff with all the hearts and the shells and all that kind of stuff. I bought just a big old junk bag of stuff at Goodwill for a couple of dollars. And there were the goose. Remember all the geese they had on all that stuff? Yeah, there was a ton of those. I mean, if I showed you all this stuff, you'd be like, yep, she got that in the 90s. Anyway, it was a big grab bag full of stuff for like $5, and there were so many treasures in it. Anywho, I'm going to paint that with my paint markers here in a second. And that little thing I showed you with the two tools, say that fast 5 times. Tool, 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 tool. That I got at Dollar General for $1 like several years ago. So I just want to use the tools, but I did save the little planner part for some other time. And they were perfectly flat. So what I'm doing is just taking my pliers there and I'm kind of bending them up a little bit. This little prong thing, that was easy to bend. But the shovel, yeah, I had to get the pliers out for that one. And I wanted it to look more realistic, okay? And then you also see half of a little straw hat. We're going to put that on top of her head. The other half is on a little chick that I made in my Easter decor. So here I'm just showing you what pens I used. I used a red, a white, and then a brown to color it. And then I took a permanent marker to trace the outside edge because once I painted it, it kind of covered some of that up. So I traced her out again. I'm just hot gluing her little half a straw hat there on top so she looks like a little country girl out there on her farm. I am going to take my black and color along all the edges, but I left the back side alone because you're not going to be able to see it anyway. Getting all the glue strings off here because you know me, you got to make a mess. See, I'm just showing you that, yep, got to take that black marker and fix that. I also wanted to take the shovel and the little hoe rake thing and rusty crusty them up with like some brown paint and some cinnamon, which I think I'm about to show you here in a second. Yeah, you can take some like nutmeg or brown oxide paint from Apple Barrel. You could just take some Mod Podge and some cinnamon. I wanted to rusty crusty them up, but I ran out of time. So I was like, hey, this will work for right now. Notice I have not glued anything in. I did not glue the moss in. The foam is not glued in except for on top of each other. The shovel and the spade are not glued in. The little girl wooden piece is not glued in. I am not gluing in these vines, ivy stuff here, because I figured that kind of looks like maybe like a cucumber plant leaf or a strawberry leaf. That kind of looks gardeny, fruity, vegetable-y, right? Now, you know sunflowers have got to come in here, right? So these little bitty tiny sunflowers came from fall from Dollar Tree probably about 10 years ago, right? And I just stuck those in there again, and I'm showing you there because of the yellow flowers on the side. And I glued one on her straw hat as well. And then you'll see a couple little bit of extra little things here that I stuck in there, but nothing is hot glued. It's just all sitting in there. Now, this is, as you saw at the beginning, on the top shelves of my cabinets or cupboards in my kitchen, and Moose doesn't ever get up there. So, oh, ladybug on top of her hat. You also saw I got a little like piece of ephemera card there stuck on the shovel, and another little ladybug on that as well. Guys, this was so much fun. Really hope you like it. I absolutely love it. I want to rusty crusty the shovel and the little rake spade thingy. I do want to rusty crusty that up, but like I said, nothing is hot glued. I can pop that out, rusty crusty it anytime I'm ready, but it is on the top shelf in the kitchen. Moose can't get it. Speaking of, there's the Moose Man barcode if you want to buy me some coffee or just send me an email. I love you guys so much. Do all the YouTubey thingies, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Check out the playlist link in Joanna's channel, linked down below for all the beautiful ladies flipping their thrifts. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I love you guys so much. And here's some more thrift flips down below. See y'all Monday.